Buckle up tight, take a seat, that's right. Welcome to the jam where we shed the light on safety tips, tricks, and things to know. We're traffic pros here to steal the show. Traffic jam, stay cool and learn the plan. Safe on the road, every child, every man. With wisdom from the experts, you'll be in command. Let's talk safety, traffic jam is the brand. Turn signals flash like they're saying hey. Eyes on the road, never drift away. Legends in the lanes, got advice to share. We've got the goods, so you're prepared out there. Crash test dummies, not in your fate. Stick around, don't procrastinate. Questions, answers, knowledge flows. Time for some fun with safety pros. Traffic jam, stay cool and learn the plan. Safe on the road, every child, every man. With wisdom from the experts, you'll be in command. Let's talk safety, traffic jam is the brand. So rev up, keep it spinning fast. Traffic tips that forever last. Stay sharp, stay bright, go and take a stand. Traffic jam has got you in hand.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Yes, this is, although you heard the traffic jam intro, this is not traffic jam. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, because that's what we're doing right now. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great long weekend. Lots and lots of stuff was going on, wasn't it? I had a good time. I love spending time with family. It's my favorite thing to do. So I hope you were able to do the same and that you enjoyed it. It's not so good when the family's annoying, is it? It's less good. Yeah, we can't we can pick our friends, we can't pick our family. That's the story. We try. Doesn't always work. Anyway, this is that show on the internet where I get to answer your traffic and police questions. I'm a former police officer. I used to be a traffic officer with Traffic Services, Toronto Police, and I am no longer. I am now in a retired status from policing in terms of no longer a police officer, here to help you regardless of that fact. I'm a guy who likes traffic stuff. It's enjoyable for me. So the fact that I get to spend some time here with you to make life better, yeah, what I like to do. In fact, I'm doing it twice today. Not only are we doing the 10 o'clock show, we're also doing the 9 p.m. show for After Dark. And hopefully, although I haven't had confirmation back yet, I think Logan's going to join. Logan Grant is a peace officer. He's a sergeant out in Brooks, Alberta. He talks about Alberta law, and we get together to talk about the perspectives, the differences, the changes, the cowboy versus city. I think that's what it is. He's got a cool Stetson and a red beard. Yeah. Anyway, that's a lot of fun. Akela Draconis jumping in right off the bat with greetings and salutations. Good day to you, sir. Nicholas Rizzi. Interesting. Nicholas Rizzi has a serious question, as he always does. What TV sitcom family would you like to be the dad in? Oh, well, I'd have to say Tom Selleck in Blue Bloods. He's the best dad. He was the best, chief of, he was the commissioner. It's very sad that that's gone. That's done. What an amazing show that was. If you haven't watched it, you should go watch 12 seasons, 14 seasons, however many seasons. It'll keep you busy for a while. One of my favorite shows, Blue Bloods. I was going to say, I'm not particularly critical of its faults. I was able to unplug and enjoy the ride. Yeah, they save the day in their own special way. Every episode is a mini series, but it was good. It was lighthearted. I was watching The Rookie last night. Rookie's another show where you have to sort of suspend disbelief. You have to accept that it is not a proper procedural. It's nowhere near, but it's very entertaining. Let me know if you watch TV shows I'm assuming most of you do. Let me know what TV shows you watch and which ones you actually enjoy. The Real Walker Texas Ranger joined. Ryan is here. What's going on with you guys? W. Lee Hart, we've spoken before. How's it going? Welcome back. Shko OK is back. How's it going? North Spectre, Jean-Charles LeBlanc, Lena Lage, Mirarima, and Mateo. How's it going? Welcome to the live. If you would be so kind as to share the live, tap the screen, let everyone know that you're watching. I'd appreciate that. Now at 10:35, we're joined by my friends from NewsTalk 1010, and they will be bringing their one and only Jerry Agar, and as well as their radio audience. So that's a thing. They will be bringing questions, no doubt. Actually, I should send a message to the producer. Any topics for today or just questions? Let's see here. Questions from the audience. I'm typing with one finger. Who's watching Mobland? Anyone watching Mobland on Paramount? What an awesome show. And yes, it's about crooks, and the crooks are the heroes in this show, but what a fantastic show. It is a fantastic. It's an adventure story for the mob, and it's in the UK, but it's despite the accents. Guy Ritchie is I guess the director. I don't know if he's a writer. Anyway, he's involved, so automatically it's a good production. Soren says yes, incredible. Yeah, it is. It really is. Okay, cool. So there's so, but I just got off of like binge watching The Pit. Finished The Pit. I don't know if I talked about that I've talked about The Pit on the live stream. I haven't talked about the fact that I binge watched the entire season. That is truly an amazing show. That was like, and I'm quite happy to share with you that triggered me in all sorts of ways. I had tears. I had laughs. It was an incredible show. You ride an entire shift that goes bananas, and they have a major event. I don't want to ruin the show for you. Go watch The Pit if you don't already have access to Paramount. Get it, because it's worth it. Not Paramount. What am I talking about? It's on a different channel. Whatever it's on, go get it. And the Real Walker Texas Ranger says, all I watch is Cops and, he watches Cops and Under Arrest. I'm not familiar with the show called Under Arrest. Maybe I need to check it out. In any case, if you've got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, police stuff, I am based in Ontario, Canada, and that's where the majority of what I talk about comes from. Now, laws are different in every province, every state, but the basics are all there. They're all the same. So why do I mention that? Well, safety is safety. The laws differ mildly. There might be different fines, but it's common sense stuff. I'm always shocked by the people who are like, I can't believe that's against the law. If it's against the law, it's probably because most people would look at it and go, that's not safe. That's not a good idea. If it's not a good idea, it's probably against the law. Lena sent a heart. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. It's so weird. Now that I'm no longer a police officer, I can actually accept gifts, and it's something that I've never asked for, but it's come my way. Someone suggested I get a buy me a coffee account, so I got one of those. It's not the same when it's online, though. If you want to buy me a coffee, better we should go for a coffee and sit down and talk. But then some would say that this is sort of like that. We're chilling out. I didn't bring a coffee today. Maybe I should bring one. The Real Walker Texas Ranger says, I think it's on Crave. I don't know. One of the zillion subscriptions my wife has. Those subscriptions keep us happy, don't they? Yeah, I was looking at subscriptions. So being that I have a small business and I do media production, aside from what I'm doing here, and the fact that I have to look at how much I'm spending on Apple warranties. So I pay monthly for an extended warranty on my Apple products. So for each phone, it's like $15 a month. For each watch, it's like between $5 and $8 a month. Then I have subscription services for offline or for online storage. I have a 6 terabyte storage capacity, $50 something a month. Then we have the bundle for the exercise, music, and TV, exercise, music, TV, and another 4 terabytes of storage for the family, $50. So I'm at $150 just with Apple services. Do you subscribe to any of that, or do you just have the free like 10 meg or whatever they give you? that you can't like back up your email on. I want everything stored in the cloud. I want everything backed up and safe. I have my entire family, since my children are born, are all stored in the cloud. Lena sent a cowboy hat with mustaches, which apparently I missed because I was looking at I don't see the actual animated stuff when it comes in, or I missed it. Sometimes I'm looking that way. I have to go back and watch the replay to see that. Thank you very much, Lena. You're too kind. Laj says, did you happen to see the Winnipeg Red 250? The Winnipeg Red 250 incident just next door from here. I have not seen that. If you got a link, please send it to me. Not obviously in the chat, but send it to me. You can get me at voiceovercop@gmail. I'd love to have a look at whatever that is. And being that it's involving an F-250, I'm assuming it was a big thing. Soren says, how likely am I to get a ticket for a totally clear plate cover? ALPR reads my plate perfectly. That's a really good question. And it really depends on the officer. So I put up a video recently, and I think it's over 60,000 views. People don't like being told that plate covers are illegal because they are, and they argue the ins and outs of why. Well, if I can see the plate, why? And Soren, you've hit the nail on the head. If it's totally clear, and if it doesn't interfere with anybody's ability to see it, then you might not have a problem. Because obviously, for a police officer to be alerted to it, they have to have a problem with it. Now, that problem could be glare. It could be that the ALPR doesn't read it, because some of those plate covers have polarized filter elements into it. It has the grains inside so that it prevents ALPR and other cameras from seeing it, because there are polarized lenses on most cameras to prevent glare so they can actually see through glass, so they can see into the license plate and cut reflections and whatnot. But if you put a counter, if one polarized lens has lines this way and the other one has this way, guess what? It turns everything black. I have, of course, I can't see it on my desk because I have paperwork everywhere. But I have a polarizer, a circular polarizer, that if I rotate it, I can make it darker and lighter, and it works by having opposing polarized lenses sitting on the screen. It's Krish says, hey, Sean, happy Tuesday. Right back at you. Thanks for saying hey. It is Tuesday. It's weird. It felt like Monday today. That's because I made lunch for my kids, not realizing that it was Tuesday, and they have catered lunches today. So I sent them with food they didn't need. And of course, because rules are rules at schools, you can't share your food with anybody. So if there was a kid that was like, I really like the extra food you have, I can't do that because there's rules. I'm all for rules, but if there's a hungry kid, I'd have a problem with it. Anyway, moving on. I got some quotes. If you got dad jokes for later, we got space for those. The end of the show is going to be dad jokes. But just a reminder, 10:35, I will be joined by Jerry Agar on NewsTalk 1010, and we'll be talking to his studio audience about stuff and things. Big Block Chev, what's going on? He says, hey, hello, everybody. He said, hello, everyone, to get that quote. What is your week like? Are you noticing the fact that it's a short week? And it was a short week last week in terms of kids at school. Do you have kids? And do you have your license? Or are you trying to get your license? Because I'm still working on a project. It's a continual project. It's working into the foreververse in that I am reading the driver's handbook. And I was going to use some AI. And I as much as AI clones, drones, no, what are we calling it? Personas? An animated version of myself. It works great, but with the beard, it screws it up. And I was trying to speed things up using AI, and I think I'm just going to read the whole thing, at least for the English version. We're going to do it from about 30 different languages. The goal is to make everybody safer, to make sure everybody understands the rules, and I don't think everybody does, based on what I'm seeing on the road. Okay. Oh. Oh, some interesting stuff that we'll be talking about when we are joined by Jerry. He just sent me a couple of topics that they'd like to address. Oh, okay. This is a good one. Excellent. I have to think about that one. I got a couple of questions that they want to talk about, and I'm like, where do I go with them? I work on a system where you ask me a question, the brain goes there, and you can't think of the answer until you know the question, right? How do you can know as much as you know, but you have to be able to grab that stuff on the fly. Brandon, who says, good morning, Sean and all from the Royal York cooking up a storm. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Brandon, I am so glad to hear from you. Actually, it's funny that he posted a message moments after I started thinking about him. We've been talking about grabbing lunch. He is a chef, and he's always cooking good stuff and driving fast cars. Now, before you say, well, he's driving fast cars, you don't like fast people. Like, no, I like fast people who do it legally on the track, and he takes it to the track, which I really appreciate. I am looking forward to heading to the track this year, spending some more time. I'm going to go up to watch my buddy's race team. Brian Max is a friend of mine. He has a race team, and they are up at the Canadian Tire Motorsports track on a regular basis, competing with IMSA stuff, if I remember that correctly. Apple 77 calling you out. What's happening? Welcome to the show. Yeah, we're really just hanging out here, but I do want to take a chance to give a shout out to Diamond and Diamond Lawyers. They're one of my sponsors. Just great group of people. Yeah, great group of people. I appear on their podcast on a regular basis, and they help me help you. They help keep the lights on. We have goals that are the same. We want you to be safe. And if you get into a situation where you need help from a lawyer when it comes to collisions, they're the ones to talk to. They're the largest in Canada, from what I understand. Like the largest. It said so in their advertising, so I know it's true. No, they're awesome. And Greg, if you're watching, give me a call. Greg does all their media stuff, and we've missed each other for the last couple of times going to a place that we frequent together and separately. Yeah. He would know what I'm talking about, but you may not know. It may be confusing. Either way, awesome. Okay. What do we got here? Bobos of two. Anyway, if you got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, that's my thing. Yes. Oh. Soren said he's looking for the Diamond podcast in the podcast app. It might be under Diamond Lawyers. It might be under Know Your Rights. They have two channels. They're on TikTok. They're on Instagram. I should put a link up if you want to watch it, because I'm in there. I do collaborate. Actually, if you go to my Instagram, VoiceOver Cop, I have Diamond and Diamond collaborations there all the time. And you can just click on them, and you'll be able to find their account. But the actually, you know what? Here, let's do the thing. Let's do the thing where we do the thing. Open a window. Okay, Apple Podcasts. What platform are you looking for? You said Apple Podcasts, I think. All right. We're opening the thing. The thing is open. Let's have a look. Stand by. I forget that I can do this stuff and you can see it. Okay. So we'll do Know Your Rights. I think that'll come up. How about Diamond Lawyers? Maybe they're not on the oh, there it is. Know Your Rights. Now, I typed in Know Your Rights, and I didn't get it. But then I typed in Diamond Lawyers, and it popped up as the first response, which is funny. And then when to call a police officer or a lawyer. Oh, interesting. Yeah, there we go. We found it. So that's on, but it must be on all the platforms too. All of them. Hey, if you've ever considered becoming a police officer, what a great time it is to do just that. Since I have the share button on, I'm gonna share stuff, and then we'll just avoid doing that later. Move myself over here, maybe down here. Am I better up there? Yeah, I think up here's better. If you ever considered becoming a police officer, check out www.tps.ca/careers, because this is the place to get the information on what you need to know to become a member of the Toronto Police Service. I'm a little bit biased. I love the Toronto Police Service. It was my home for just under 25 years. Great service, especially if you want to work in the city of Toronto, in a big city that does all sorts of things. It's very different than being in a rural or regional police service. They're great too, different type of policing. My buddies who have moved to the OPP say it's great to be able to take a lunch break and go fishing. I wouldn't know. But all the information about what you need to do to apply is right there. Additionally, you don't have to become a police officer to work for a great organization. Special constables is a role that has multiple faces, different duties. I started as a court officer, which has now become special constable, and they've got expanded roles. But they work in courthouse security, prisoner transportation. They work in the community. They work in the booking halls. They do all sorts of things. And what a great way to serve your community without necessarily being a police officer. Some people have a problem with the concept of being a cop, but they want to still serve. They still want to do something meaningful. Parking enforcement officers. Hey, Aaron. This is one that people don't understand how important it is. They are the folks that keep the city moving. If it wasn't for them, there would be cars parked on top of other cars. They wouldn't go anywhere. And they're important, whether you like your parking tickets or not. Remember, if someone's giving you a ticket, it's probably because you done something wrong. Here's another good one. Communications operator. No uniform needed. You're an office person, but you are working shift work. You're taking the calls for service. You are taking those calls from people in need and making sure that police and fire and ambulance are on their way. You're the magical folks. They really don't get the credit they deserve. Auxiliary officer is a volunteer opportunity, and I think that anyone who wants to contribute to the community, even though they're professionals in other areas, this is the best way to do it. You are trained. You're in a uniform, and you are out there serving the community. It is the most unique experience ever, and I did that for 12 years. Fantastic. I was an auxiliary sergeant when I left. I was a supervisor within court services when I left to become a police officer when I switched over. Now, let's see what kind of roles are under the general civilian tab, because that's it's always interesting to see what they got. This changes all the time. You should check it on a regular basis. Criminal intelligence analyst. Okay. I know some analysts. I can't tell you exactly what they do, but they do provide, or used to provide me with lots of great stats. When people were asking me from the media, hey, how many collisions that involved, a Rubik's Cube, and they found all this stuff. They were the magical finders of info, but they did much more than that. Senior project manager in facilities management. Cool. I'm sure that has lots of stuff that I'm not going to read. 20 to 25 Youth and Policing Initiative After School Fall Program. That's a great school program for young people if they're from specific communities. Check that out. Let's go into it. $17.20 an hour. But that's not bad. If you live in these communities, you're eligible, and it gives you an opportunity if you're between the ages of 15 and 18 to do something after school and get some experience in policing. Like, learn. Maybe this is a job you might want. At very least, knowing what other people do helps you understand them. Oh, and there was another civilian role. What was the last one? Communications operator, which had their own tab. 77,846 to 102,276. Not bad. Plus, you are getting benefits and stuff and things. It's just a good way to go. Great job. Got to give them respect. They do a ton of good work. They help people every day, and they tell people, police officers, where to go. Literally, they tell people, the police officers, where they need to go, what kind of calls they need to go on. They're the issuers of stuff and things. Mr. Hool wants to know, hold on, let me scroll back, because it says, did my question come up? It did, but I was off looking at other things. Okay. Crazy Cooter says, are cops allowed to get in relationships with other cops in the same department or frowned upon? Happens every day. There are people who are married. I mean, you can't work on the same shift. You can't work for one another. So a sergeant can't be with a subordinate, but a staff sergeant could have someone in the station that they're in, family or in a relationship with. You just can't directly supervise, is my understanding. Bobo says, I have to go, my friend, but I'll catch you later. All the best. Thanks. Sorry I missed you. I wasn't able to. Oh, you came in and then you had to leave, but yeah, take care. Good to see you. Crystal, welcome. Good to see you. Ryan wants to know what percentage of HTA tickets go to the city revenue versus the province. I don't know. Only because I've never really cared. It used to be the vast majority went to the province, but I do believe there is a split of some kind, and I don't know what that is. I can try and find that out for you. And I'm sure it's different in every jurisdiction. Let's see if hang on. What split? See if I can find it on the interwebs. How is the revenue from tickets split in Ontario, and specifically in Toronto? I was always told, just ask very direct and complete questions. Don't search ticket revenue. Ask what you want, and oddly enough, there'll be an article to support it, usually. Okay, what's our time like? 24 minutes. That means in 11 minutes, we're going to be joined by Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010, and we'll be talking about stuff and things with him and his radio audience. Okay, let's see here. Here's the breakdown. It's not really helping me. Well, they're giving an example. In 2020, Toronto's court services reported revenues of approximately $75.8 million from provincial offenses, with net expenditures amounting to $35.8 million. It resulted in a net revenue of around $40 million. That doesn't help me. I know parking violations gets more of a split. I don't have a direct answer. I have to do a lot more reading to this. I would look for a nice percentage, but this is not giving me a nice percent. This is not being very direct. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, back to TikTok. I'm looking at different windows. If I'm looking this way, it's because I'm looking at YouTube, X, and Instagram. No, not Instagram. This one is also LinkedIn. Then if I'm looking this way, it's because I'm reading TikTok. And if I'm looking all the way over there, it's because I'm looking at Instagram. That's what I'm doing. Okay, let me go back here and see what we're talking about. Okay. And I don't think I ever got into the license plate. How likely will I get a ticket for it? It depends. Sorry, Soren, I didn't mean to ignore you. I never really give you an answer because I skipped on to looking at the podcast. Okay. Mr. Hule, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Does a passenger have to identify at a traffic stop in Ontario? And generally speaking, no. If they're not being investigated for an offense under an act, then they don't have to. So if they're just a passenger, they're doing everything right, then the police officer should really have no reason to speak with them. In the event that they're not wearing their seatbelt, they're smoking, and there's a relation to, smoking under Smoke-Free Ontario Act, like if there's somebody under the age of 16 in the car and they're smoking, that could be a reason to speak with them. Maybe they're underage themselves. If it's drugs, alcohol, anything that they are being investigated in as an individual violator, then yes, there'd be a reason to. But generally speaking, no. In fact, a passenger who refuses to identify themselves, if they are being investigated, for instance, for not wearing a seatbelt, they're arrestable if they refuse to identify. So, yeah, it's a thing. Oh, Soren's looking at Android podcasts. I don't know. Did you find Pocket Cast? Maybe they're not on Pocket Cast. They're probably on Spotify, though. Okay. North Spectre says, how can I gauge how much you're allowed to consume and still be under the legal limit? This is in terms of alcohol and or drugs. My suggestion would be 0. I mean, no one's really going to be able to accurately determine how drunk or high they are once they're drunk or high. You become a really bad source of information at that point. So if you, if you set yourself like, I'm going to go out tonight, I'm going to have a beer at some point, and I'm going to wait about 2 to 3 hours before I drive, then you're probably safe. One, I say probably because I can't guarantee you that you're safe, but probably. But if you're going to have more than one, you're really at a risk of having issues, because even if you were to blow under, you could be impaired depending on how you respond to alcohol. There are people, and I talk about this all the time, there are people who, they have a drink and they are lightheaded from one drink. Others drink a case and they're flying straight, except it's against the law to drive. Doesn't matter how good you feel, you can't drive. And that's the whole thing. You become a poor judge of your own abilities once you're impaired, because you're impaired. That's the whole point. So now for alcohol alone, I'll have to put a link in. So after the show, I will put a link into the show notes. There is a device that comes from a reputable manufacturer, the same manufacturer that makes it for the police. They sell a home version where you can test your blood alcohol by way of a breath sample. It's like similar to the roadside screening device. You have to send it in for recalibration to make sure it's still accurate. The cheapy ones you buy on keychains, don't bet your life on it, because it is your life you're dealing with, not only for the safety of yourself, the safety of everybody else on the road, but the fact that is, if you get charged, you're going to be unhappy for a long time and broke, because the common defense for impaired operation is about $30,000 to $45,000 for the average. So that's the thing. That's the thing. The best way to make sure you're under the legal limit is not to do any of it. That's the only guarantee. Okay. Melody says, official TPS recruiter now? No, I just want to make sure that my city is taken care of by finding good people to go fill the spots that I have vacated. I feel responsible. I want to backfill. No, it's a great service, and I really want to encourage people to look at law enforcement as a career path. It's fantastic. I miss it terribly. I've thought about going back, but I'm here for my family, so that's why I left. For anyone who's wondering why am I not a cop anymore, it's because my family needed me, and now I'm here being needed. Or I guess I'm probably needed less than I was when I was not here, because now the need is being fulfilled by me doing stuff and things. Okay, what do we got here? Where are the new speed cameras? Andre 3000 wants to know. I don't know. I think they should be secret. I don't even think we should put camera signs up saying there are cameras here. I think we should just have them on all roads. And that's the thing. 5 minutes from now, we'll be joined by Jerry Agar on NewsTalk 1010. So that's a thing. It's an awesome thing at that. Hang on one second. Where is? I'm looking for. We'll do this because I have it all set up. We have Jerry Agar on NewsTalk 1010 coming up in 5 or so minutes. And if you want to join the show, phone or text 416-872-1010 or toll free 1-877-518-5151, where you can join in and call in, talk to the magical producers, and jump on to the show, because then you can ask the show questions live. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay. That's not the window I want. That's the window I want. Looking for some stuff. Things that we're going to talk about. All right. Let's keep going until such time as I hear the ding ding in my ear. Let me just make sure my settings are good, because I've had an issue before where they come into the air and they go, why are we hearing ourselves? And that's because I was doing something else. And I changed the settings in the show setup. And yeah, it's a computer, not a rocket. No, where'd it go? Oh, it's thinking about it. Come on, system settings. There we go. People say, you got to call tech support about this delay. And the problem is I am tech support. It's the same thing when I was with the police. Everyone would say, you got to call support and get that fixed. I'm like, I'm right here. I'm support. There ain't nobody else. All right. And we're all live. There's no, listen, you set up a podcast. When I record podcasts, it's very simple. When when it's all live, there's no take backs. There's no undo button on things you said and you can't unsay. Just saying. All right. So the question was, where are the new speed cameras? And the answer is, I'm sure they're published. In fact, there is an answer. When they are erected, they will be posted if they're not already there. And since we've got a moment, let's have a look-see, because City of Toronto has a location on their website. And by the way, thoroughly unimpressed by the ding-dongs that cut down the... let me just quit out of some programs because my computer's acting funny. Probably Microsoft Word that's making it funny. We'll get rid of notes too, because we don't need that. Messages, definitely don't need that. Trying to make sure my resources aren't destroyed. It's amazing. It doesn't matter. 32 gig of RAM and not enough, apparently. Okay. Memory leaks are magical. I'm running beta software, working with the companies that make the software that I use to fix this stuff. It's not me, really. Okay. City of Toronto. That's what we're talking about. Toronto. Automated camera certificate. That's what I'm looking for. Because they actually have to post, or they do post. I don't know if they have to. Automated here. Certificate. Here we go. Let's put this on screen. So City of Toronto, you can go check them out. My understanding is that all of them, and I just heard the ding dong of this. It's like a little doorbell.
And why can't you sleep?
Hey, NewsTalk 1010, how you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
Excellent. We're just looking at where people are posting cameras. That's what people are looking for.
Ooh,
Yeah.
we are coming up in about a minute with
I
Jerry
will be
Agar.
ready.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Ciao. Okay. So this is the intersection. This is where they are. And there's 211 pages. So, no, 2,108 entries. There's not that many cameras. They must have been all the locations. Oh, I see. They've got all the inactive locations listed. In any case, that is where you can go and peruse to your heart's content. You will be able to find those things there. I will close that window, for I do not care where they are. I think they should be on every road. Not everybody agrees. Okay. Do you have to identify your passenger of a traffic stop? If you're so this is Mr. Hool or Hule. Do you have to identify as a passenger only if you are committing or being investigated for an offense, whether that's any offense, but not if you're doing everything right. Zed finds as punishment for crimes. What is this? Fines as punishment for crimes makes the punishment insignificant if you're rich, devastating if you're poor. Zed, interesting. There is definitely lesser impact when it's a financial only impact to those who have less money. So it should be even more. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. I'm going to fix those levels right now. Stand by. We're going to take them down to 16.
This is Jerry Agar.
Paul, let me know if this is better.
So some time ago, we found out that Sean Shapiro, traffic officer with the Toronto Police Services, was online every day answering people's questions on TikTok. And so we asked if we could join in once in a while, and he said yes. And that went really, really well. And then he retired as a traffic officer, but still continues online, helping people out, and continues with us as well as Sean Shapiro, the TikTok former traffic cop. Good morning.
Good morning, Jerry.
Always good to have you. Now, yesterday, John Moore was asking me when you're here next. He's taken a real interest in this and has questions. So we recorded him, of course, as we record everything here. And our numbers here are 416-872-1010 if you have a question for Sean Shapiro, 416-872-1010, and toll-free 877-518-5151. You can text the 872-1010 number as well if you have a traffic question. But here's the first one from John.
Why do they continue to ticket postal trucks?
See, he thinks that doesn't make sense because it's just out of one government pocket into another one.
Well, it's all about tracking what's going on. They're still breaking the law, and the driver is still responsible for whatever they do. Now, when you say ticket, I'm assuming they're talking about parking tickets as opposed to driving offenses, because everyone is good for an offense ticket to track their issue and maybe lose their license.
Yeah, I think he's talking about parking tickets. If you're driving a postal vehicle and you blow through a red light, then you're no different than anybody else. But do postal trucks get parking tickets?
I'm sure they all do. I was never a big parking ticket issuer, but I understand the benefit of it. And if someone's blocking a laneway, it should be recorded. And whether that ends up getting dealt with, because a lot of the companies, the Postal Service included, will go in and negotiate away large sums of these tickets and paying a fraction of what they actually were owing. But it does help understand the issues in the city. It's like putting a trouble ticket in. There's a problem with traffic in the area, and look who's causing it.
Well, I complained the other day about the post office and UPS and FedEx and anybody else who's, with a business truck, and how they're always parked plugging up one of the lanes as I'm going home on Richmond, heading towards Spadina. And I had some people write in and tell me to stop whining about my situation. My situation is not the issue, because when I leave, there's not that much traffic. It doesn't really tie me up very much. But I look at that and think, you start doing that a little later in the afternoon, it's a problem.
And it's a problem throughout the city, and parking enforcement is so important for that very reason. They are out there trying to make a difference by dissuading people from plugging up the city so emergency services can get through, and so you don't have a crappy day.
All right, now, John had another question, and maybe it's a little snarky, but here's the question.
Do some, parking ticket officers like the job a little bit too much?
He thinks the guy in his neighborhood is writing parking tickets out of anger.
Well, here's the thing. They can't write tickets for offenses that don't exist. It's the same thing as me as a traffic guy. I love writing tickets. I really do. And with every ticket that I used to write, I was happy, not because I was making someone's day miserable, but because I was contributing to making the roads safer. I really believe that they are an important way of changing driver behavior. And a parking officer who gives a ticket is really hoping that tomorrow when they come back, the person's not violating again, that it's a one-time, you learned your lesson, do better. And if that's the case, it's an expensive lesson, but it's a lesson, and if you take from it the learning that's available, it'll make it more challenging for them to write the next ticket, won't it?
Yep. Here is Peter. What's your question for Sean?
Good morning. Yesterday, my son's a mechanic who took out his customer's his vehicle out for a test run on 427 northbound. He gets pulled over for having no front plate. The officer then pulled him over. After he seen the front plate, he issued him a ticket for an obstruction of a front plate. Is it right for a mechanic to get into that situation where he said, she says, and no, we don't want you to write up the ticket because it wasn't my fault?
Well, if he's driving a car that he is capable of checking the existence of a front plate before getting into the driver's seat, he knows that that the vehicle is violating, and he's the driver, he's responsible. So the fact that there was no plate, he takes the burden of that, or he refuses to service the vehicle. In terms of obstruction of the front plate, I'm not sure what you mean. Was it behind the front windshield? Because that's not a legitimate location.
No, it was one of these low-riding cars that did have a front plate, but the officer didn't see him when he pulled him he pulled him over.
Right.
But he saw it when he pulled him and saw it when he went around the car.
So that situation sounds like he's got a defense. If it was properly mounted and the officer just didn't notice it, as long as it met the requirements under law, it's a legitimate front plate. Like tow hook adapter on the front bumper is okay. If it was hidden underneath the front grille, not so okay. So he may have to go jump through some hoops, but he is responsible as the driver.
Thanks, Peter, for your call, 416-872-1010 or toll-free 877-518-5151. Here's a text. I have a 50cc scooter that is road licensed. I know I can't be on highways. Can I ride on an 80K road? The bike only gets up to 60K.
So yeah, you can be on an 80-cut road as long as there's no prohibition of those size vehicles. So there's something called a restricted access, or why is the proper name is escaping me at the moment, but it's a like the 401 does not allow anything under 50cc on there, but it would be ridiculous to be on there with 50cc. So there's no pedestrians. It would be unsafe for you to do it. But being on a vehicle or in a vehicle that does 60 and an 80, that's legal. The speed limit's the limit. It's the maximum you can go. However, it doesn't preclude you from going on with a vehicle like yours. I just don't think it's necessarily a good idea, but it is legal.
Okay, excuse me, but in some places there is a minimum.
Well, if you look at the 401, and it's again, it escapes me as to what the proper name is right now, but it's a restricted use highway where you can't be on unless you meet the requirements. And 401 is a great example of that.
Okay, here's a question from Corey from Barrie. Is it illegal to change lanes in the middle of an intersection? According to my daughter's driving instructor, it is not illegal. I taught both of my daughters not to do so, as I believe it's reckless.
Well, I agree with you, with your listener, that it's dangerous, but it's not illegal. So the driving instructor is correct. You can make a lane change, but I always describe it this way. An intersection is like the stage where a play is taking place, and everyone has a role. And when you do things that don't make sense to the other players, collisions happen. Because a person who's making a right turn from an intersecting street will assume you're going straight through, and if you last minute make a lane change, you're going to be where they expect to be, and kaboom. So it's not a good idea, and you should do it with caution, and you will likely be responsible, or at least partially responsible, for a collision in the event that you make that move.
Here's another one from text. When there are two lanes to turn right and exit off the highway, is it legal to turn right on a red light from the second lane?
As long as there is no sign prohibiting it, and as long as you go into the appropriate lane. Obviously, the curb lane into the curb lane. If you're on the next lane over, you need to end up in the next lane over. But it is legal, and it confuses everybody. I grew up thinking it wasn't legal. So I learned stuff when I became a police officer.
All right, here's the thing I saw happen on the Queensway, okay? So I go to this intersection all the time. It's the Queensway in Islington, and you have 4 lanes there. One is the left turn lane. And we all pull up, and we're at a red light. And I was going straight through. I was in the middle lane or something like that. And there was a guy in the left turn lane. Traffic coming across in front of us, there happened to be a break. He realized he wanted to go north on Islington. He pulled out of the traffic, the left turn lane against a red light and pulled right across in front of all 3 lanes and headed north. Is that legal?
No, you have to be in a turn lane or a lawful turn lane. If it was a left turn lane and he went right, that would be unlawful and definitely dangerous in front of everybody else, not to mention the fact that they were making a right turn on a red from the inappropriate place. So there's a bunch of tickets that could have resulted there. Not legal, not safe.
Here is Michelle. What's your question, Michelle?
Hey, thank you for taking my call. So the license plate covers are those legal or not? A clear license plate, clean covers put on by the dealer. Is that
So
because it's, tell me, talk to me.
So no license plate cover is truly legal. It doesn't matter if it's a license plate frame, if it's clear, if it's smoked. There should be nothing obstructing any portion of the plate. And what people usually say is, well, if I can read the numbers, is it really obstructed? And that's where we get into the minutia. So if it covers Ontario, yours to discover, it's being argued. I've also read case law that says if it says Ontario but covers yours to discover, it could be legal. So it becomes an argument. If you want to avoid all the hassle, simply have nothing on your plate. Now, clear plates that don't obscure, don't cause glare, don't get dirty, may never get you into problems, even though technically they're still not legal. The best course of action is don't put anything on there, and know that if you're protecting your plate, it's a very good reason, still not an excuse under law. And the plates are under warranty for 5 years, so if they do get damaged, replace them under warranty.
All right, Michelle, thanks for that question. I would like to point out, though, as she said, and now Christina's telling the same thing happened with her, the dealership put it on there, so you just assume it was okay.
Yeah, I recently put a video up where I was at Canadian Tire and they're selling all of those license plate covers and frames, and right on the packaging it says for off-road and showroom use only. And when the dealership puts it on, they don't care whether it's legal or not. It's not illegal for them to put it on. It's illegal for you to obstruct your plate while you're driving on the road. Similar to what happens when you put a bicycle rack on. Well, if your bicycle rack is hanging over your license plate, you're obstructing your plate. It's against the law. Is it heavily enforced? Depends. And are there better ways to do it? Absolutely, because you can get relocation kits that will allow the license plate to be visible when the bike is being carried. So there's a solution, and just because it's available for sale or somebody put it on your vehicle doesn't make it legal.
All right, really quickly here, what's the one-stop shop to find the TikTok traffic cop?
You can get me at trafficcop.ca, and we're having fun every day, but there's lots of resources there, and you can link to all my social media.
Trafficcop.ca. Sean Shapiro, thanks very much.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
Yeah, we're going to check on whether your hunting and fishing skills.
Thank you, sir. Have a
on the
Pleasure.
iHeartRadio Talk Net.
Okay. I cut him off. I was hanging up while he was doing this thing. It is always a pleasure to hang out with Jerry for a bit. It never grows old. Now I want to go back to what was it? We went to a Korean barbecue last time we hung out, and now I want to go back. Okay, for those that have been patiently waiting, let's look at the questions that were in the queue before we went and did the thing on the radio. Just to let you know, it's now, what time is it right now? We've been on for 47 minutes and 30 seconds. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, and I do that 5 days a week, although I was on a lighter schedule during the time that I was doing the holiday thing the last 4 days. I was with family, wanted to focus on them, so I put y'all on hold, but that's why I'm doing this twice today. Not only am I on till 11 o'clock this morning, but I'm back on again tonight at 9 p.m. To do it again. Different crowd, not everybody's available in the AMs, and I want to make sure that if you need me, I'm there for you. So tonight will be, once we're done here this morning, we'll be back at 9 p.m., then 10 a.m. tomorrow, 9 p.m. on Thursday, 10 a.m. on Friday, and then we'll be off for the weekend. So I try and give you as much time as I can. Connie, Glacier Glass, Audrey, Honda Migs, what's going on? Just acknowledging some people that are coming in from Instagram to say hello. Okay, let's see what we got here. We talked about Zed, and then I think we got interrupted while we were talking about the fact that I think that we should have enforcement on every road. Not everybody agrees with me, but I think it would certainly change behavior. Nick Allen wants to know if you can drink as a passenger in the rear seat of a car. If not, can you explain? Yes, I can explain. No, it's not legal. So it's not legal to have open alcohol anywhere in a motor vehicle. It's not legal to consume alcohol anywhere in the motor vehicle. The driver would be eligible for a charge regardless of if what's going on. It's in the Liquor License Act. It's stipulated there. You can't have open alcohol readily available. Can't consume alcohol. You can't consume drugs either. Nothing. And that's why people, tend to talk about the limos. In a limo situation, can you have alcohol in the back? There's a divider. No, can't have alcohol in it. Can't have open alcohol in a vehicle. Period. GJJ. Hello, Sean. What is this? Hello, Sean. Our Form 1 under Mental Health Act inadmissible for admission to become a cop. Well, you're going to be interviewed by a psychologist. So I don't know whether or not they would, that if they're inadmissible or not, but your mental health is definitely going to be scrutinized. They're going to give you a gun. And if you were formed at one point, could that come into play? I would much rather, and this is me personally, Sean, saying that I'd much rather know about that and then have it discussed and make sure that a doctor speaks to you, acknowledges it, and says it's not an issue, rather than hiding it where you are lying to the police service and then found out later and fired, because you would be fired at any point in your career. If they found out that you lied on your application by not disclosing that kind of stuff, I think that you would be fired. I think so. Let's see. But I'm not the right person to ask, only because I've never been involved in the process other than as an applicant. I've never been involved in the hiring process. Yeah, I'd actually like to know the answer now. And thanks for the follow, by the way. Miguel followed, so thank you, and has a bunch of questions. So Miguel wants to know if does having a physical security and investigation 2-year college diploma boost my chances of a job? I think that anything that makes you a better candidate boosts your chances of being hired. Will it physically, or does it absolutely make you better than someone who doesn't have a security and investigation diploma? As long as you both have an equivalent amount of education. So if the other person doesn't have a diploma, you're a better candidate. If the other person is a doctorate, of anything, they become the better candidate. You're competing, and it's all score points. Although you might have more transferable skills to the area, the person who has a medical degree would be a real big asset when we're doing investigations that would involve medical stuff. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Okay, Miguel says, 19 years old. 19 years old. Take your time. Like, don't be in a rush. Continue your education. I really do believe that if you haven't already enrolled in a program, take a program that's not what everybody else is doing to become a cop. If everybody takes law enforcement and then joins law enforcement and then gets trained in the same law enforcement at the police college, we're boring. Make yourself interesting. Take accounting. Take I don't know, media, computers, programming, and then go into law enforcement and bring the skills that you have acquired that are completely unique into the game. Miguel wants to know if I know someone named John So. I don't know if I know John So. I might know John So. And Shko OK says that they're pretty sure. Absolutely, you're right. Melody says, did you see the message I sent Thursday? I don't think I sent it. I don't think I saw it, but Melody, I'm going to make a note to go look for it now. Why is my pencil clicky not working? Here we go. Melody. Okay. Computer, great explanation. How do we keep selling? What is this? Oh, okay. We talked about that. Elijah really apparently liked the radio segment. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Jack Gibson, 1975, says, haven't seen you in a while. Love the beard. Thanks very much, Jack. Appreciate it. Yeah, the beard has been in progress since I left the police service. Obviously, this was not an approved beard when I was working for the police service. I've let it go a little bit wild, and I'm enjoying it. It's different. I've never had a beard this long because I've, for the last 25 years, been adhering to police standards. And that means, having your hair done, looking a certain way, clean cut. And this is not clean cut. This is a little bit rebellious, and I'm just experimenting with that. Carol White, thanks for the follow. Let's see here. You mentioned you should have enforcement on every road, but that'll never happen. If it does, people will find a way to escape it. I wish everywhere was safe, but I already see people use remote license plate covers. That's B58. Listen, I think that it should just be everywhere all the time. And you're right. There are people and criminals get really creative on ways to avoid following the law when it's so much easier just to follow the law. But here's the thing. If everyone's following the law and it's just the outliers, the individuals who just can't comply because they're sociopaths, well, then they're easier to find. The problem now is the criminals or the violators are everywhere. And I mean that with love. There's soccer moms and dads and accountants who break the law marginally, a little bit, because they figure they can get away with it because there's not enough enforcement. Those people who are generally honest and just break the law a little bit because everybody else is doing it too are part of the reason why it is such a problem to conduct enforcement and why we need so much more of it. If every good person were to actually strictly follow the law, well, the bad guys would be sticking out like sore thumbs. The really bad guys would be the most law-abiding of the bunch. And I mean that, like, if you were a gang member, and you wanted to avoid getting pinched, you'd probably follow the traffic laws. But here's the funny thing. They can't help themselves. They tend to be the biggest violators on traffic offenses too, and then they get pinched and then they get arrested, and then we find guns and drugs. And I can't tell you how many times coppers pull someone over for a speeding violation because they're above the law and everyone else is doing it, and it ends up being a big pinch, which is a good thing. Hey, if you're watching, we've got about 6 minutes left on this show, maybe 10. Maybe we'll go a little bit over because why not? But if you're enjoying, please like, follow, subscribe, share with somebody who wants to know stuff and things about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. Because I'm a former police officer, and all I want to do is help. So please share with as many people as you can. Help us grow the channel, and watch on YouTube as well. The YouTube channel, I'm trying to get to 1,000 so we can monetize it. I want to be able to get some money coming in to help hire more people. Right now, I'm a one-man show, and I'm paying for this out of pocket. I'm not charging anybody other than the assistance of fine folks like Diamond and Diamond Lawyers. Yes, they help me out, but it's still bigger, and we want to grow into a large-scale program. I was just having a meeting last night, and we're discussing about what do we really want to do. Well, we want to take Ask a Traffic Cop and go across Canada. Yes, we want to help police services across Canada engage with their community, having conversations like this, because while I'm doing it here, I'm not a pro everywhere. I am a pro in Ontario. I have my friend Logan Grant. He is a pro out in Alberta, and we want to just help more agencies connect. So that's one. Two, we really want to help newcomers. People argue all the time that newcomers are a problem. Well, let's help newcomers. Newcomers who come here need to have better education when it comes to driving. We want to make sure everything's translated nicely. And for the most part, that's already done. But there's a disconnect. Not everybody's getting it. We also, the police want to make sure that everyone's properly licensed. That's not my department, but I do want to make sure they're properly educated when it comes to driving. And when we're talking about young people, I want to try and get you some better training, make it available. So I'm working with some amazing organizations to try and bring better high-end winter and track training, not so you can become a race car driver, so you can learn how to handle a car in a more extreme situation. Things that I'm working on. Not happening tomorrow, but I totally want to do it. Okay. Okay, we talked about B58. Jack Gibson, thanks for the follow. Marcus says I should dye my beard camo. I don't think camouflage is going to be for me. B58 says, and also when we don't have affordable tracks, teens go out now and make 401 their tracks. Yeah, I get it. It's not our responsibility to provide racetracks. I'm sorry. I appreciate that when people are committed to driving fast, they want to become race car drivers, they want to do stuff that's cool and fun, they invest the money it takes to become involved in racing, legitimately. And if that means driving 100 kilometers away, 200 kilometers away, that's what it is. Breaking the law, I think they should be punished beyond that of what they're currently being punished. I don't think there should be any hug a thug or hug a dangerous driver situations. Okay. Basically, I'm trying to say the law is too lenient. And GJJ says, so you think cops should be able to swear on duty? Some think it's unprofessional. I'm not sure. Oh, I guess that's an independent question. I don't think that's related to anything you asked before. Cops do swear on duty, and sometimes it's the only way to communicate with somebody. See, I speak politely to everybody, but if they want to swear, I can continue to speak politely, and they will likely want to swear more. Sometimes an angry person needs to hear, shut the F up. Maybe that's the way to communicate with them, and maybe that's the only way to calm them down. So while I appreciate that we should always try and be professional, sometimes to be effective, you have to speak in real words that people understand. It's unfortunate, but have I sworn at somebody? Yeah. It worked. It shocked the heck out of them, and it calmed them right down, because it also told them that I wasn't screwing around. Because I tried nice, and then I explained to them that it was going to get less nice. Ask, and then you make. Well, no, it's ask, tell, make. That's the line. Didn't deliver that right. But yeah, I don't think that we should just be vulgar at all times. That's inappropriate. But you start nice, and things go where they go. All right. We got, by the way, I hope that the audio was better after Paul mentioned that 1010 came in really hot on the mic, and I dropped it by 50%. Hopefully not, they weren't too quiet. We're experimenting for where the perfect mix is. It depends on the levels every time. Username BG says officers are rude for no reason, to be honest. Well, I can tell you that I was never rude for no reason. If I became rude, it was because I was giving back what I was getting in order to find a common communication pattern. So again, if I'm sweet like honey and they're being rude, I'm not going to remain sweet like honey. I don't have to. I'm going to communicate in a way that puts you in your place. That's very stern. That's very authoritative. And sometimes people need to wake up and be reminded that no, you can't talk to people like that. Police are not there to be abused. And yeah. GJJ says, I think swearing can be unprofessional because they represent the city. I think raising voice is enough. And I don't disagree with you. Again, I think it's an escalating thing. If I were to pull someone over and say, what the F do you think you were doing? Do you know how much? No, that would be totally inappropriate. But if it was, good day, sir, good day, ma'am, I'm letting you know that this is why I pulled you over and need your license, ownership, and insurance. And they go tell me to go F myself. I'm still going to continue to be polite. It's a different situation. Am I talking to a drunk at a bar? Am I about to avoid getting into a bar fight or a street fight outside of a bar versus a cordial stop at the side of the road? It's all choose your own adventure, and the officers amazingly are capable of choosing how they want to act. And remember, everything is recorded. Body cams. They're all wearing. I never had body cams when I was on the road, but body cams are the thing now. So if they're being rude, put in a complaint if you think it was inappropriate. They'll be investigated. If it was truly inappropriate, and if it was, I get what you're saying in terms of it looks bad on the city. It's all recorded. They have to articulate what their choices were. And part of communicating and their choice of communication methods is something they are going to be responsible for later. Can you tell us what the purposes of a TPS 344 form is in context with the CRC? I don't even remember what the TPS 344 is. That's what username BG wants to know. Is that a damage to public property form? I can't look it up anymore. I don't have access, and I never really paid attention to the numbers of the forms. But if you tell me what the form is, I'm happy to tell you what its purpose is, aside from the actual name. Like, tell me what form we're talking about. Sean Zeta2, welcome back. How come the police are allowed to speed without their lights on? Because it's safer. Well, first of all, I'm having this conversation in the chat with someone who told me. So if you've seen the video of the ambulance in the left lane of a highway going lights and not going really fast, like I estimate based on the movement of the traffic or the road and the dots and the lines, about 115 kilometers an hour. Not terribly fast. Nobody else on the road except a vehicle 2 lanes over on their right. So I said they probably forgot the lights on, and someone said no, they're obligated by law. Somebody from Muskoka or Muskoka said you have to have the lights on. No, you don't. There's nothing in law that says you have to have lights on. And then they said, well, you have to. It's under the Ministry of Health guidelines. Okay, I don't know anything about the Ministry of Health guidelines. I'm a traffic cop. So they said, when I asked them to cite the section of the Ministry of Health guidelines, they said, well, actually, I meant the HTA. And they gave me 2 sections which do not support what they said. They explain what an emergency vehicle is, and they explain that emergency vehicles and police, fire, ambulance specifically are permitted to speed. But that's another story. So they're allowed to speed because it's safer. So if I don't have to move you out of my way, I don't want to even talk to you. And I mean that if I turn my lights and sirens on, a car will likely stop dead in its tracks right in front of me. That's not getting me faster. The only reason lights and sirens are turned on, legally required by law under the HTA, is to cross through a signalized intersection against the signal. So a police car, fire engine, ambulance would have to come to a complete stop. Lights and sirens have to be activated, and only when it's safe to do so can they proceed through. After they get to the other side, they can turn them off again. So why can they speed? Well, better example, Sean Zetter too, is that if I'm coming to respond to an alarm, a call for someone, barricaded prisoner, hostage situation, or barricaded person with a hostage, anything that when the police are we don't want to announce our arrival. So if you're robbing the house and our lights and sirens are coming, what does that do? It changes the bad guy's decision as to stay, go, hurt someone, barricade. We want to surprise bad guys. We don't want to let them know they're there. We want to catch them, put them in jail. It's not about, just send them along their way. Anyway, I was a little rambling on that, but it's safer. It is safer. And faster. We'll get through places marginally speeding. Now, and then on top of that, another thing is I go off the rails with this one. Let's say I'm just doing enforcement. The speed limit is 100. Everyone's doing 120. Should I be able to do 120? Yeah, I got to be able to do 120 legally to go and enforce laws. And if I'm trying to find out if you're wearing your seatbelt in addition to using your cell phone and speeding 20 over, I got to be able to do 125, 130 to get up beside you and see what you're doing inside the car legally. No lights and sirens before I activate my lights and pull you over. Okay. B58 says, hey, Sean, I had a bad traffic stop with a cop. I send to you and you tell me your opinion. By all means, send me an email with that. Use the link at trafficcop.ca or just use trafficcop@gmail.com or voiceovercop@gmail.com. Okay. Go away. Okay. I don't know how to say. Somehow the always becomes too. And I don't want to say your name is go away. Okay. We'll just call you okay. Or maybe just it's a should. Just very, very harsh on the earphones. Okay. Swearing slip-ups makes them personable, in my opinion. They're real people. Cops can only go deal so much before they're grumpy cops. And, I think that the average person, not the average person, but the person who is being a silly bugger and trying to use language and abuse the cops thinking that they just can't respond, I think it does show the fact that you're not going to win here. Like, I think we need a little old school back in the game. Back in the day, you didn't talk before rules and what was appropriate. And people can argue that, maybe it was too out of control back in the day. But, when I was a kid, it was yes or no, sir, because you knew that you'd get a slap in the face if you said the wrong thing. Now, I'm not suggesting that cops should be able to slap you about the face. Well, some people I think deserve a slap in the face, but legally, you can't do that. But I do think the occasional F-bomb could really help. Depends. Melody wants to know if there's any stories about sovereign citizens. A few, but nothing really worthy. I mean, most of my experience with sovereign citizens was just cordial. It's like, it's not going to work here. I have stories of friends who were dealing with them, and they had to smash the windows and drag them out of their driver's seat of their car, handcuff them, and take them off to jail because the sovereign citizen movement is just bogus. I don't understand how people are being duped every day to believe this crap. Okay. GJJ says, I guess swear words can be more understandable for low income or rough neighborhoods. Sometimes they need to emerge. It's about using the vernacular. If I'm going to talk to an accountant, it's different than if I talk to an aristocrat. The royalty is different than if I talk to a lawyer. It's different if I talk to a plumber, because the way they talk is how I want to echo so they feel comfortable. It's not even a matter of being rude. And sometimes, it may just be that they speak that way and they would feel more comfortable if I wasn't, speaking down to them using big words and fancy talk and, just be normal. And for them, normal might be profanity at every other word. I got a friend of mine who swears like a trucker 24/7. He's a computer programmer, but that's the way he speaks. Whatever. What is this? Haley99 says, can me and my boyfriend do it while he's driving? Oh, interesting question. You're asking if you can have relations while you're driving, or do you have to be parked? Well, you could have a problem in both situations. But while driving is absolutely either criminal dangerous driving, you're in a no seatbelt situation, possibly both of you. There's a lot of violations if you're driving. I would maybe even stunt. That could even lose your license in your car. I think it would be a bad decision either way. And I'm going to move on to another topic now because that one's inappropriate. Ashley, thanks for the gift. Not necessarily, but totally appreciated. Sunnyside Lin. Okay. Got that. Oh. Let's see here. No. Someone's trying to call me from Instagram, but I'm not answering Instagram phone calls. What do you think about having a phone number to call into the show? I mean, I love the fact that I can take text calls, but what about actually calling in? Just like the Jerry Agar segments. Do you think that would go well? Carl Freeman, good morning to you. How you doing? What do you think? Okay. Dad joke. Nicholas Rizzi says, I'm so scared. You witness a drunk about to get into his car. If you stop him before they enter the car, what do you do next? Do you still issue a DUI? So if they're attempting to get to their car, or the keys are out, they have intent, they're stumbling, they can be arrested. They are arrestable. Now, what do you do then? Do you have to charge them? No, but how do you make sure that they're not going to go anywhere? It makes sense to arrest them, and that is historically what was being done. They're jiggling the lock. You're in the car. You got the keys. You're done. Okay. Do you have stats of your whole police career, totally amount of speeding tickets, DUI, stunt drivings? I don't. I wonder if they could find that. It's just not something I ever cared about. Like, it wasn't about getting the high score. Every day was about being better and more efficient than the day before and charging somebody for that I've never charged. Like, I always the adventure of finding new things to lay charges on was cool, but I never kept stats. It was just my personal stuff. Brando1234 says, good morning, Sean. Nice to see you. Hope you're having a great day. I can't complain. Things are good. Thanks for saying hey. Walker, Texas Ranger says, have you had any negative feedback from cops after you started sharing tips to help commuters? So funny you should mention that. I have had nothing but amazing interactions with police officers who have reached out to say I've given them the updates, I've trained them, taught them new stuff. I'm the checksum to make sure that they're doing it right. I've had nothing but positive feedback. And the training videos, because I've done a lot of training videos for police officers while I was a police officer, creating content internally to help train them. I've had so many amazing moments where members from all ranks, like all the way up to superintendents, have come back and said, this is the best training we've ever had. This is the funniest training, the most enjoyable training. Because I got to tell you that death by PowerPoint is in every industry. And I was working and still work to make that not a thing. I want to make learning fun and approachable and easy. And that's why I'm doing what I do. I want to make learning fun. And I'm not just doing it here. I'm in other industries as well, using AI development tools to deliver stuff online or learning modules and so on. But what I'm passionate about is what I'm doing right here, helping people know stuff and things about what's going on the road so they can be safer, so they can have good long lives and not impact anybody else's. Somebody says, can I brake check someone driving recklessly and cutting up? Brake checking is very specifically stunt driving. So if I saw you, while they may be doing something, you, by brake checking them, is doing something as well. I would take your license and impound your vehicle and charge you for stunt driving if I saw that. Sadly, most people doing it are doing it just because they want to mess with somebody. But when you say drive recklessly, you're looking at potentially causing a collision that could impact a huge number of people in the surrounding area, not just you and that person. But yeah, you can't do it. Oh, but they said, that's okay. I'd be happy to. You'd be happy to take a charge and lose your license and your car and spend $2,000 just because you want to. You're not in if you see someone driving recklessly that is putting someone at risk, the community at risk, call 911, take direction for them. Don't do a brake check. You could end up killing somebody. And then you are the one who caused that problem. And they said, others don't care though. I agree. But you have to drive for you, and you have to consider yourself, and you have to be the better of the two people. So call 911 if you see a reckless, a careless, dangerous driver who's putting lives at risk. Don't involve yourself. You're not going to be covered under insurance. You are going to destroy your record. You are potentially going to get hurt or cause. Ensure that the collision that is the risk, they're posing a risk, but when you do the brake check, you're actually taking it to the next level where someone might get hurt, and it's on you. You become the problem. Let's see here. The Real Texas Ranger says, I don't see it on yours, but they usually. So if I was only in TikTok or only in Instagram, there'd be a way to join the live, but I can't host. Like I can actually send a code to let people join in, but it's a studio code, and then it's different. This is talking about taking guests. I think we'd be doing it by way of audio only if we were doing it, because it would be a telephone number, so you don't have to get offline. Okay. Brando says, there was a driver caught doing 250 kilometers an hour in Ontario. Would that person have been arrested on the spot? Stunt driving allows you to arrest, but I would actually charge them for criminal dangerous driving at that speed. There's no excuse for it. That would be handcuffs, in my opinion. Tracy MF, long time no see. How are you doing? And thank you, yes, for shutting up and saying, why ask if you don't care about the answer? And somebody says, somebody being the person who was asking about brake checking, this is more of a trolling question based on the engagement, because they said, "What's life without some excitement?" Yeah, that's garbage. Well, your statement was garbage. I don't buy into that. Life is not garbage. Life is good. Crystal, how you doing? Electric Crystal, how's it going? Look at you guys jumping in at the end. Okay, we got to shut it down. It's been 14 minutes longer than I thought I'd be going on here. Where else can I watch these lives without Instagram? I use my phone a lot for work, and I don't want to miss anything when I need to do something else. So if you go to trafficcop.ca, you got links to YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and of course TikTok. So I'm VoiceOver Cop on all the platforms, and you can get me at look at this. I can even press the button. Captions. Come on, captions. Here, lag. Here you go. Trafficcop.ca. That is the place. Tracy says, Sean, I'm so mad I got pulled over for just having a clear cover. I spelled my husband's name for him. I spelled my husband's name for him? I don't get the spelled my, anyway. Oh, you wanted your husband to get the ticket. But did you get a ticket? He wanted to give me the ticket. Well, you're driving with it. That's the problem. If you're driving a car that has it, you, the driver, is responsible. And funny, we were talking about that very question on the Jerry Agar show earlier when we met up with Jerry online. So if you drive the car, you are taking responsibility for the entirety of that car. Anything that's unsafe on it, you're driving it. Now, truly, the owner can be also issued tickets for, like, the owner gets the issued tickets for no insurance. The owner gets unsafe for permitting an unsafe vehicle. You may not have known it was unsafe, but for things like tinted windows, things that are obvious that you should know better about, you'd be held responsible. I got a written warning. It was him that bought the covers. You should definitely make him pay for it for years, mentally. Let's see. Let's do the dad joke thing. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be a long one. 2 of 3. Okay, Bessie, this is dad joke, part 1 of 3 from Akela Draconis. I just updated my online profile with info about my new job. Jesse asks, what did you write? Bessie says, well, I said that my office is a view of the entire city. I drive a $550,000 vehicle and I'm paid to travel. I've been getting tons of messages, and Jesse says, well, I'm not surprised. That's a heck of a way to say that you're a bus driver. I was going to say garbage truck driver. I didn't expect bus driver, but it's like, it's a bit of there's a lot of work for a little bit of, I don't know. If anyone disagrees, was that a fantastic joke? Was it just okay? Was it good? Oh, Melody says, waiting for the day when I get pulled over in my customer's car for something not related to my driving. But, Melody, I don't know if you were here earlier for the Jerry Agar show, because a mechanic got pulled over. A gentleman called in because his son, who's a mechanic, got pulled over for an obstructed front plate. Originally for no front plate and then obstructed front plate. If it was really obstructed, then it would be your fault for driving the car, even for the test drive. Technically. Oh, you were there. Okay, good. All right, let's see another joke. Your moving's back. And he says, I was going 190 last night, and luckily Waze and my sharp eyesight seen the 2 undercover cops waiting. You're moving. I'm sorry you didn't get caught. You obviously needed an intervention if you're doing 190. It's not smart. I'm not going to be rude beyond suggesting it's not smart, but you are the problem on the road. You should not be doing that. Take it to the track. This 190 business and making reckless decisions on the road is stupid. And one day it'll catch up with you. And I know everyone's told you this already, but, whatever. It's not a flex. It's just saying stupid. It's like putting an arrow pointing at stupid. That person is you. Just saying. Don't mean to be rude, but you're making stupid decisions. And one day it's going to catch up with you. Or maybe it won't. B58, thanks. I'll check that email. Okay. What do we got here? We have another dad joke? I'm having really weird lag things. Dad joke. Me, I need a passport so I can go to Australia. Clerk says, have you ever been convicted of a crime? Me, is it still necessary? Is that still necessary? I need a passport so I can go to Australia. Oh, I get it. It's actually really good. It was a slow burn. Can I give it a anyway? Australia was a penal colony. So they want to know if you've ever been convicted of a crime to get to Australia because it was a penal colony. They sent all the criminals from England to Australia to get rid of them. It's a good joke. I just delivered it horribly. Let's see here. Okay. Anyone stunting should lose their license in car. I agree. Oh, back to you're moving. You're on thin ice, man. You're just flexing baloney. I don't mind when you jump in and talk your trash, but you think you're too smart. You're not. Cool. Okay. I think, Tracy, you're right. I think you're moving as a kid in his mom's basement. It makes a lot of sense. All right. Take that joke down. I got to remember that one for later. Work on my delivery. Okay. Here we go. We're going to say bye in a sec, but what do we got here? Oh, Nicholas Rizzi warns that if I got a telephone number to call in, he would never hang up. This is good. So, okay, where we go? Hang on. Brando says, one more question. If I call 911 and report a reckless driver, is there anything police can do if they don't catch the person in the act? Or can I give them a statement and they can go off of that? If you have video, and Robert Terry says, I have a camera in my car. How helpful are these for reporting bad drivers? They're fantastic. I record everything. And in terms of can they do something with your statement? You can make online reports, and while a charge may or may not be eligible, or they may not be eligible for a charge based on your statement alone, they can very often they will very often write letters to the registered owner saying, on this date and time and location, whoever was driving your car was being a bonehead. And I'm sure they say it in a much nicer way. I used to. But that's the story. And it goes into a long-term history where it's recorded. And if they're pulled over later for doing the same thing, they're going to say, whoa, look at this. On this date and time, you were reported for doing this same thing. You're not getting a warning. In fact, we're going to use that statement as mitigating information to get a harsher penalty in court. Just saying. A Texas Ranger says that was more anticlimactic than a bad movie. I'm assuming that was joke one. Okay, so username BG, I didn't see you say, but it was user damage to property question. Why can't the CRC file report without it? So it is the form. I was guessing it was going to be the form for property damage because it's got to be documented as to what happened to that property. Because if you hit, let's say, a bridge, that's going to be a major contributor to the report. You can't just report without it. You need to know. Generally speaking, a police officer is going to actually do a report when that happens, though, because we have to get engineers to look at the bridge. Big time fees, and you might be paying for them. If you hit a tree, the city will be coming after you for the replacement cost of that tree. If you don't have that, like, police have to attend when city property is impacted. They can still send you the CRC with that form, but otherwise you can't go. And they send it in advance of you going there too. It's not just you. So if you don't go, then they not only get you for not reporting, but they also add, damages after you. Oh, I've heard crazy stories. What are the odds of winning a DUI case after a first offense? $30,000 to $45,000 to hire a lawyer to let them play their games. Possible, people do it, but I don't know what the odds are. It's going to be expensive either way. What apps can I use to see where police helicopters are? No idea. Don't know. B58 says, I had cops raid my house for stunt driving. Someone reported me in reckless driving. Someone called out. Wow. Never heard of anyone having a house raided for that. And You're Moving says, that's terrible. Whoever reports you for that should mind their own business. No, You're Moving. You are such a jackass. No. reporting someone legitimately stunt driving is a legitimate thing. They should be caught while on the road in the act. They should have their car taken, and they should be arrested. That's what stunt drivers deserve. So you're wrong. People should not mind their own business because public safety is everyone's business. And when it comes to jackasses on the road doing stupid stuff, you should be caught and prosecuted. Okay. When it comes to, swatting people or fake reports, that's where the caller needs to be held accountable. And if it was a fake call and nothing happened, I would hope that they were investigated and then charged for, their part in it. B58 says, but me and exact car were beside one another and caller reported wrong car. Exact same car. This is where having a unique car is important, I guess. But also when you answer the door, like when you say raid the house, did you mean they knocked on your door and said hello? Or they kicked down the door in a raid? Because there's no reason to raid a house for stunt driving. It doesn't make sense. Triple S says, have you voted? Yes, I have. Advanced polling rocks. Nobody was there. Like nobody. It was like 5 people in front of me. There was no line. Walked in, walked out. It was fantastic. Boy, I'm not leaving it. 25 minutes overtime already. I'm back, by the way, 9 p.m. 5 minutes and I'm out of here. I got to go. Do cops come to all accidents if it's clearly over 5K in damage? I was told no by 911. 5K in damage is for reporting. The only reason police come to collisions is if it was somebody transported by ambulance to hospital, if there was damage to city property, if there was criminality, impaired driving, no insurance, something else going on, drugs, guns, something. Assaultive behavior. But no, police do not come just because there's $5,000 in damage. There is a legal requirement to report if there's $5,000 in damage. That just changed as of January 1st this year. It used to be $2,000 in damage, and it's amongst all vehicles combined. Okay. Let's see here. Not like actual raided. They had 5 cop cars. Oh, they just knocked on your door? They didn't actually raid you. Okay. Melody, time to do road test. Good luck. Unknown says, you retired from TPS? Yes, I left in August of last year. It feels like a million years ago already. It's been too long. B50 says they waited at 50. Okay. As long as you had the information, you were able to articulate. That's just responding to a call and just probably a slow night, so they were bored. Oh, you're moving. Hang on. Where's your moving? I've grown tired of your moving. We are blocking your moving just because it provides no benefit to this channel. Just talking crap. Blue Mustang 2024, very rare at that time. Nice. Yeah, that dash cam, everyone should have a dash cam. I used to think wear U1000. I think it's discontinued. U3000 is the way to go now. Expensive, but I think it's the best one. Okay. So what's the next step after putting my keys by the door for gentlemen picking up my vehicle? Todd did. So if you understood what the messaging was about leaving your front door, then this is moot. But you're obviously suggesting, Todd, that that is a bad idea. So you must not understand what the messaging was. Leaving your keys at the front door is called harm prevention or reduction, not theft reduction. So Todd is trying to make fun of the officer who provided good advice about leaving your keys at the front door to prevent someone from knocking your teeth in by, pistol whipping you in the middle of the night to get your keys. That's why that officer was trying to give you good advice, which was the proper advice, by the way. If someone's willing to kick your door in and drag you out of bed and demand the keys, they're going to hurt you. Probably going to hurt you bad. I've read and watched many stories about people being seriously injured from scumbag criminals breaking in to get your car. Your car's insured. Let them have your car. Put it in an easy to find place. They'll take the keys and they'll leave, and maybe you won't be scarred for life because, you probably don't want to have the PTSD, and that's what you would have. Because, everyone talks big, but you would be impacted probably for the rest of your life. Just saying. Report said 2 million people advanced votes. Amazing. This is why you need mods. Yes, it's 100% why I need mods. Tracy, would you like to mod again? I'd love to have you mod. We weren't able to have mods when I was with the police because things happened, but I can have mods now. Lena says, I have 2 dash cams front and back. Me too. Well, I have 1 dash cam that records front and back, 2 cameras, one recorder. Todd did says, give your stuff away, allow people to enter your property instead of having a firearm harm reduction. Now, Todd, I will tell you this. I don't agree with laws when it comes to firearms. I think we should be able to protect ourselves. I like what the state does there. I like the idea of giving you a medal if you get the bad guy, but that's not the country we live in. That's not the laws that we have. And I don't agree with those, but they are the laws we have. So while you and I are probably more alike when it comes to firearm and self-defense things, what I'm trying to say is you want to protect your family. And in a country that doesn't allow you to defend yourself the way that I think you should be able to, you deal with what you have, or you go somewhere where the laws are better. Just saying. Tracy, I will have to figure out a way to bless your account because I'm not logged in the way I used to be logged in. But yeah, I'd love to help. That'd be really, really great. All right, I'm leaving because it's 1:30 and it's time for me to go. I'm already a half an hour over time. So, and then Being Human asked a question. Are you allowed to have a phone mounted and connected to Bluetooth? Is that considered obstruction? A phone mounted and connected to Bluetooth. If it's not, so obstruction is mounted to your windshield so you can't see through it because there's very few transparent phones. It has to be in a place that doesn't obscure or obstruct the driver's view, and then it's legal. Can't use it, but you can. You can't touch it other than to answer it or hang up. You can. That's the extent of it. LJ nominates Akela to moderate too. Right on. Once I retire, I might be in a position to mod, maybe even guest on the show. Right on. Okay. Hi, LJ, by the way. Sorry, I didn't see you there. And Nicholas has been busy typing all sorts of stuff, which unfortunately I can't read now because I got to go. All right. Back here, 9 p.m. I will be doing this again for probably an hour and a half again, maybe 2 hours, because if Logan is here, we talk a lot. Happens. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you at 9 if you're around. And if not, I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. We're doing that thing. It's a lot of fun. All right. This is the music that tells me that I have to say goodbye. It's just a reminder that no more questions. But I just noticed that King of the Disco is watching. That's pretty awesome. Lena, thanks again for the gifts. I really appreciate it. I think I might. I don't know what 100 coins is, but I might buy a coffee now. Awesome. I really appreciate it. I'm not making fun. It's great. And LJ says, "Go Leafs, go." Are they playing? Is that hockey season? What's going on here? I don't watch sports. I know not. Be safe, everybody. Take care and see you tomorrow. Or see you tonight.